Tonight, we are driving into one of New Jersey's most infamous roads. A road where headlights appear behind you when no car should be there. A road where a ghost truck is said to chase strangers away from the bridge. And a road where people whisper about a child beneath the water. A child who returns the coins you throw down. But Huy Tran is not coming to Clinton Road for a dare. He is coming because, 28 years ago, his father vanished there while answering a late-night tow call. Now, a stained envelope has arrived at his apartment. Inside it is a quarter that should have disappeared with his father. And one warning written on an old piece of paper. Do not take the coin back. This is the story of Clinton Road and the coin that came back. People say that if you drive onto Clinton Road after midnight, you should remember one thing. Do not stop at the bridge. Do not look down into the water. And absolutely do not throw a coin into it. Because if the coin is thrown back, the thing that throws it may not be a child. Huy Tran did not believe in ghosts. He had said that sentence so many times in his life that it had almost become a form of self-defense. He did not believe in ghosts. He did not believe in omens. He did not believe in stories told in low voices inside late-night diners, while cold coffee sat on the table and rain tapped against the windows. Huy believed in things that could be taken apart, repaired, reassembled, and started again. He was a mechanic in Jersey City, 32 years old. He lived alone in a small apartment above his uncle's auto shop. By day, he changed oil, balanced tires, and fixed brakes. By night, when he was not too tired, he and his best friend worked on a channel about urban legends in New Jersey. The channel was called Night Routes. First, it had only been for fun. Huy and Chris Miller, his best friend since high school, would drive to places rumored to be haunted, record a few clips, capture some audio, and turn the trip into a creepy episode. Chris half believed. Huy believed nothing. To him, everything had an explanation. Footsteps in an abandoned house were old wood shrinking in the cold. A figure at the edge of the road was just a branch. Whispers in a cemetery were wind moving between headstones. And ghost stories were only the way people filled the empty spaces in the dark. But there was one empty space Huy had never been able to fill. His father. When Huy was 8 years old, his father disappeared. He did not die. There was no funeral. There was no body. There was no final phone call. There was only an old tow truck found on the shoulder of a wooded road in northern New Jersey. The driver's side door was cracked open. The keys were still in the ignition. The headlights were weak, but still burning. And on the driver's seat lay a soaked work jacket. Huy's father, Min Tran, had worked nights as a tow truck driver. People said he had received a call just before midnight. A car had broken down somewhere near West Milford. He drove out to help and he never came back. Huy's mother rarely spoke about it. Whenever he asked, she only said one sentence. Your father went to help someone. Then the road kept him. Huy had always thought it was the way a grieving woman comforted herself. Until that October when he received an old envelope. There was no return address. Only his apartment address, written in slanted, trembling handwriting. Inside was an old quarter, dull and tarnished, and a piece of yellowed paper. The paper had only 3 lines on it. Clinton Road, Dead Man's Curve. Do not take the coin back. Huy stared at the paper for a long time. Then he turned the quarter over in his hand. On the back of the coin, beside the eagle, there was a small scratch shaped like the letter H. Huy knew that scratch. When he was 7, he had taken the point of a pair of scissors and carved his initial into his father's lucky coin. His father always kept it in his shirt pocket. He used to say, "This coin helps me remember the way home." Stopwatch 1. 5. After his father vanished, Huy's mother told him the coin had vanished with him. And now it was lying in Huy's palm, cold, wet, as if it had just been lifted from the bottom of a lake. "Are you sure you want to make this episode?" Chris asked, staring at the coin through a clear plastic bag. They were sitting in the auto shop after closing. Outside the glass door, a misty rain fell across the street. Neon light reflected in puddles streaked with oil. Huy did not answer right away. He placed the coin on the table beside the recorder. Clinton Road is one of the most famous urban legends in New Jersey, Chris continued. The Ghost Boy Bridge, the Phantom Truck, the coin thrown into the water and thrown back. It is perfect for a Halloween episode. "This is not a Halloween episode," Huy said. Chris looked up. Huy kept his eyes on the coin. "My father disappeared there." The air inside the shop seemed to drop. Chris knew about Huy's father, but he had never asked too much. Like everyone else, he understood that some wounds should not be touched unless the person carrying them opened the door first. "Then we definitely should not go," Chris said quietly. Huy gave a faint, bitter smile. "You sound like someone who believes in ghosts." "I do not need to believe in ghosts to know there are places people should not poke." Huy lifted the paper. "Someone sent this to me after more than 20 years. My father's coin. You do not think that is strange?" "I think it is so strange that we should call the police." "And what will the police do? Reopen a missing person case from 1998 because of a wet quarter?" Chris had no answer. Huy sat down. "I just need to know where it came from. And if it really came from Clinton Road, then I need to go even more." Chris sighed and opened the map on his phone. "It is about an hour and a half from here to West Milford if traffic is light. Clinton Road is long, isolated, and the phone signal gets bad. We should bring someone who knows the area." "Who?" "I know a woman named Anna Brooks. She works at the local library in West Milford. She has written about the legends around that road. Not a ghost hunter type. More like local history. Call her. Now?" Huy looked at the clock. 10:17 at night. "As soon as possible." The call lasted less than 2 minutes. When Chris hung up, his face had gone pale. "She agreed to meet us." "Where?" "A diner near Newfoundland." "When?" Chris swallowed. "Midnight." The diner sat beside the road, not far from Clinton Road. The sign flickered, half lit and half dead. In the parking lot were 3 old pickup trucks, a silver sedan, and a yellow lamp post swarmed by insects. Huy and Chris arrived at 11:46. Anna Brooks was already sitting in a corner booth. She was in her early 30s with brown hair tied low, a long gray coat, and a cup of hot tea she had not touched. On the table were a thick folder, a paper map, and a small flashlight. When Huy showed her the coin, Anna did not touch it. She only leaned down and looked at it. For a long time. "Where did you get this?" she asked. "Someone mailed it to me." "Who?" "I do not know." Anna sat back. "This coin was mentioned in an unofficial report." "What report?" She opened the folder and pulled out an old photocopy. The page was faded, and some lines had blurred, but Huy could still read the date. October 18th, 1998. The night his father vanished. Anna pointed to a paragraph. Tow truck operator Huy Tran disappeared while responding to an emergency call near Clinton Road. Mud, water, and the circular impression of a small object were found on the passenger seat. Possibly a coin. Huy felt his throat tighten. Why have I never seen this? Because it was not an official case file. It was an internal note kept by a retired deputy. He died last year. His papers were transferred to the local library. Chris leaned over the map. Where is Dead Man's Curve? Anna circled a stretch near a reservoir and a small bridge over dark water. Somewhere around here. The legend changes depending on who tells it. Some people say if you place a quarter in the road at midnight, it vanishes and comes back. Others say if you throw it into the water, a little hand throws it up again. Some say if you stare over the side of the bridge too long, something pulls you down. Chris forced a laugh. Very welcoming. Anna did not laugh. What about the ghost truck? Huy asked. Anna turned another page. People say a truck or pickup appears behind them, rides their bumper, floods the car with headlights, and forces them to speed up. But when the driver is about to pull over or crash, the truck disappears. Chris looked at Huy. Could be local kids messing with people. Could, Anna said. But if you ask people who live around there, many of them say the same thing. What thing? Anna looked out through the diner's window. Outside, the rain had stopped. That truck is not chasing people off the road. She turned back to Huy. It is trying to keep people from stopping at the bridge. Huy drove his old SUV. Chris sat in the passenger seat, holding the camera. Anna sat in the back, a paper map spread across her knees. The coin lay in a plastic bag inside the cup holder between the front seats. When they left the diner, the clock on the dashboard read 12:08. The road toward Clinton Road was darker than Huy expected. Not the darkness of a neighborhood after a power outage. This was the thick darkness of the woods. The trees closed in on both sides. Their black branches interlocked overhead, forming a suffocating tunnel. The headlights showed only a short stretch of pavement before everything disappeared into empty dark again. Chris switched on the recorder. October 18th, 12:14 a.m. We are entering Clinton Road in West Milford, New Jersey. In the car are Huy Tran, who has a personal connection to a 1998 disappearance, Anna Brooks, a local researcher, and me, Chris Miller. Huy glanced at him. You do not have to sound like we are making a murder documentary. Chris shrugged. Maybe this episode will finally blow up. From the back seat, Anna said, try not to joke too much once we are on the road. Chris looked back at her. You really believe these stories? Anna stared out the window. I believe some places keep memories longer than people do. No one said anything after that. They drove for several more minutes. The phone signal vanished. The radio began switching by itself into static. Huy turned it off. A second later, it came back on. Not music. Not a station. Just a long burst of static with a faint clicking underneath, as if someone were pressing the button on an old radio handset. Chris looked at the dashboard. Did you turn it back on? No. Huy shut the radio off again. This time it stayed silent. For exactly 3 seconds. Then a man's voice came through the speakers. Far away. Very faint. Tow truck 7. Heading to Clinton. Huy slammed the brakes. The SUV stopped in the middle of the road. Chris nearly hit the camera with his face. What the hell was that? Huy's face had gone rigid. He knew that voice. Not every word, but the way the man stretched the end of a sentence. The roughness of a voice trained by sleepless nights. The soft breath before speaking. Like there was always an unlit cigarette at the corner of his mouth. It was his father's voice. Anna gripped the edge of the seat. Huy, keep driving. He turned to look at her. What did you hear? Drive. What did you hear? Anna did not answer. From the speakers, the voice returned. "There is a child on the bridge." Then the radio went dead. Silence filled the car. But now, in the beam of the headlights, something lay in the road ahead. A coin. Huy opened the door and stepped out. "Huy," Chris called. He did not listen. The air outside was freezing. The smell of wet earth and rotting leaves rose from the woods. The coin sat exactly on the yellow line. Huy bent down. It was another quarter. Newer, cleaner, but wet. On its face was a small dent, almost like a bite mark made by a child's tooth. Before Huy could pick it up, Anna ran over and grabbed his wrist. "Do not touch it with bare skin." "Why? Do not." She took a tissue from her coat, wrapped the quarter, and placed it into a separate plastic bag. Chris stood beside the SUV, his voice shaking. "We have not thrown anything yet." Anna looked farther down the road. Not every coin waits to be thrown. From somewhere deep in the trees came a child's laugh. Short, dry, then gone. The bridge appeared at 12:31. It was smaller than Huy had imagined. Nothing grand, just an old stone bridge with low railings, crossing a black stream that moved slowly over moss-covered rocks. The forest pressed in too close on every side, as if one wrong step off the road would make a person disappear between trunks and shadow. Huy stopped the SUV before the bridge. The headlights washed over damp stone, revealing long trails of water like fingers dragged downward. Chris said nothing now. He unfolded the tripod, but his hands shook so badly it took almost a minute to lock it into place. Anna opened the map, then folded it again. "This is where people usually test the legend," she said. Huy took out his father's coin. Anna immediately looked at him. "What are you doing?" "The one thing the note told me not to do." "Huy, listen to me. Someone may have sent that coin to lure you here. Then I need to know why." Chris interrupted. "Or we film the bridge and leave. That is still creepy enough." Huy looked down at the quarter. In the flashlight beam, the scratched H looked deeper than before. He walked onto the bridge. The water below was so black that it did not reflect the flashlight. It simply swallowed the beam, quietly and patiently. Huy stood in the center of the bridge. The wind moved through the trees, but the water below did not ripple. He lifted the coin, and, for one sudden moment, a memory returned. His father sitting on the edge of his bed, his tow truck jacket smelling faintly of motor oil. Min placed the coin into Huy's palm and said, "Everyone needs something to help them find the way home. For me, it is this coin. For you, maybe it will be the voice of someone calling your name." Huy closed his fist around the quarter. Then he threw it down. The coin fell into the dark. There was no splash, no sound at all. As if there were no water under the bridge, only a bottomless space. Chris whispered, "Did you get that?" The camera was still recording. 10 seconds passed. 20. 30. Nothing happened. Huy exhaled, half relieved, half disappointed. "See?" he said. "It is just..." A sharp metallic clink rang out behind him. The coin dropped onto the bridge. It spun in a small circle. Then it stopped. Chris cursed. Anna stepped back. Huy stared at it. The coin lay less than 2 feet from his shoes. Soaked. But water was not dripping from the coin onto the stone. Water was rising from the stone into the coin. Huy bent down. This time, no one stopped him in time. He picked it up with his bare hand. The coin was so cold it numbed his fingertips. The instant his skin touched the metal, a soft sigh came from beneath the bridge. A child's sigh. Then a whisper brushed his ear. "You came too late." Huy spun around. No one was there. But on the wet bridge behind him, two small footprints had appeared. Bare feet. They led from the edge of the bridge toward the SUV. Chris backed away with the camera. "We are leaving. Right now." Huy did not move. He looked into the water. This time, the surface reflected the light. And in that reflection, he saw a boy, 7 or 8 years old. Wet hair stuck to his forehead. A white shirt clung to his thin body. Both hands gripped the stone under the bridge. The boy looked up at Huy. His mouth did not move, but the voice entered Hui's mind. "Give him back to me." Huy leaned closer. "Do not get near the edge." Anna screamed. Too late. The boy's hand rose in the reflection. Not toward Huy. Behind him. Huy turned. At the far end of the road, beyond the bridge, two white points of light switched on in the dark. Headlights. A truck sat there. Its engine rumbled low. No one had heard it arrive. Chris lowered the camera. Did someone just drive up? No one answered. The truck's headlights flared. Then it charged toward them. Huy jumped back into the SUV by instinct. Chris snatched the tripod, threw it into the back seat, and slammed the door. Anna had barely pulled her seat belt across herself before Huy hit the gas. The SUV shot across the bridge. Behind them, the truck's engine roared. White headlights filled the rearview mirror. It was so close Huy could not see the front of it, only light. Light that shook and pulsed with every curve of the road. Chris turned the camera backward. "No license plate," he shouted. "Hold on." Huy took a hard curve. The tires screamed across wet pavement. The forest rushed past like black walls. Branches scraped the doors, making a long shriek like fingernails across glass. Anna looked at the speedometer. "Do not go over 40. Are you joking? This road has dead curves." Behind them, the truck blasted its horn. It did not sound like a normal horn. It was low and distorted, like metal being dragged underwater. Huy looked in the mirror. For one brief second, through the glare, he saw a figure behind the wheel. A man in a reflective work jacket. His head was slightly bowed. His hands were on the steering wheel. Huy could not see his face, but hanging from the truck's windshield was a small swinging object. A coin. Chris yelled, "It is pushing us." The truck bumped the rear of the SUV. The whole car lurched. Huy tightened his grip on the wheel as cold sweat broke across his neck. Anna suddenly said, "It is not trying to hit us." "What?" "It wants you to turn." Ahead, a narrow dirt path opened on the right, almost hidden by trees. Huy had no time to think. He swung the wheel. The SUV left the road, bouncing over dirt and stone. Behind them, the truck followed for a few more seconds. Then the headlights disappeared. They did not turn off. They did not stop. They simply vanished, as if swallowed by the dark. Huy slammed the brakes. The SUV slid forward, then stopped before an open patch of ground. In the headlights, they saw collapsed stone walls, moss, and thick vines. An old structure stood in the trees, like the ruins of a kiln or a forgotten foundation. Anna whispered, "Impossible." Chris was breathing hard. "Where are we?" Anna stared ahead, her face drained of color. "We should not be here." I asked where we are. She looked at Huy. "The Druidic temple. It is not really a temple. It is an old industrial ruin. But in local legend, people say this is where things from Clinton Road gather." Chris gave a broken laugh. "Wonderful. The ghost truck just brought us to the spiritual welcome center." No one laughed, because at that moment, from inside the ruins, a child coughed. A wet, choking cough. Then a small voice said, Uncle Min? Huy opened the door. Anna grabbed his arm. Do not. The voice came again. Uncle Min, I am so cold. Huy pulled free. That is my father's name. He stepped out. The air here was colder than it had been at the bridge. It smelled of wet stone, rotting moss, and rusted iron. Chris followed with the camera. Huy, do not go alone. They entered the ruin. Inside, the flashlight swept over low stone walls, black openings, and old char marks on the ground. There was no child, but there were footprints. Small, wet footprints on dry stone. They led to a collapsed corner wall. There, half buried under soil and dead leaves, was an old rusted metal box. Huy knelt and pulled it free. On the lid were 2 carved letters. Mt. Min Tran. Huy could barely breathe. He opened the box. Inside were a notebook wrapped in plastic, a mini cassette tape, a faded tow truck driver's badge, and a photograph. The photo showed Huy's father standing beside his tow truck. Beside him was a wet-haired boy in a white shirt. The boy from the reflection under the bridge. Chris stared at the photo. When was this taken? Huy turned it over. There was a line in his father's handwriting. If anyone finds this box, do not let the boy return the coin a 3rd time. Anna stood behind him, silent. Huy turned toward her. You knew about this. Anna said nothing. Anna. She closed her eyes. I knew part of it. Which part? Anna looked at the photograph in his hand. That boy's name was Evan Brooks. Chris looked at her. Brooks? Anna nodded, almost too faintly to see. My younger brother. Anna told them the story after they returned to the SUV. Her voice was even, but her hands trembled. Evan Brooks vanished in 1983, when he was 8 years old. Anna's family lived not far from West Milford. One late autumn afternoon, Evan went fishing near Clinton Road with their father. Their father fell asleep in the car. When he woke up, Evan was gone. Police searched for days. In the end, they decided the boy had probably slipped into the water near the bridge and been carried away. No body was ever found. 15 years later, in 1998, Huy's father received a tow call at midnight. The caller said a car had broken down near the bridge, and a child was cold. Min Tran went there. Then he disappeared. After that, Anna said the coin legend became stronger. People had whispered about the bridge before, but the stories were scattered. After the night your father vanished, everyone started talking about the boy who returned coins and the truck that chased people on the road. Huy opened his father's notebook. The first pages were ordinary logs from a tow truck driver. Vehicle numbers, call times, locations, customer problems. The later pages were different. The handwriting was rushed and crooked. Day 1. I think I drove out of Clinton Road, but I came back to the bridge. The clock runs. Fuel burns. But the road does not change. Day 2. The boy says he does not want to hurt anyone. He only wants to return what people throw away. Day 3. My truck starts by itself when someone gets too close to the bridge. I am not driving it. Something else makes it move. Huy turned the page. Day 4. I understand now. The coin is not a joke. It is an invitation. Whoever throws one down to test the legend, if they take it back, the road remembers them. Chris whispered, what does that mean? Huy kept reading. But it is not the boy who chooses them. The boy only tries to return the coin before the thing beneath the water takes their name. A strong gust slammed into the SUV. All 3 of them flinched. Through the windshield, the stone ruins stood motionless outside. But on the rear window, moisture began to gather from the outside. Letters appeared one by one, as if a small finger were writing on the glass. Give Uncle Min back. Chris began to cry. No, I am done. I am not filming anymore. We are leaving. Huy closed the notebook. Where is the way out? No one answered, because when Huy started the SUV and backed away from the ruins, the dirt path they had followed was gone. In front of them was only forest. No road, no tire tracks, no sign that the SUV had ever driven in. Anna looked around. We are in the loop. What loop? Chris asked. The Clinton Loop. Locals use that name for people who get lost out here. They say they drive for miles and end up at the same place. The bridge, the curve, the ruins. Different people see different points. Huy looked at the dashboard clock. 12:31. He frowned. Impossible. Chris followed his eyes. It was 12:31 when we reached the bridge. The clock had stopped, but the engine was still running, and from the radio came the old sound of a two-way handset. His father's voice, clearer this time. If you can hear this, do not take the coin back a third time. Huy leaned forward. Dad? Static stretched through the speakers. Then Min's voice came again. It is not the boy. Anna covered her mouth. Chris whispered, what is not the boy? The radio hissed harder. The thing under the bridge. Uses his voice. A heavy impact struck the roof. All three screamed. Huy switched on the interior light. Something moved slowly above them. Not footsteps. Two small wet hands patting the metal. Thump, thump, thump. Then a child's face appeared upside down against the windshield. Pale skin, wet hair, wide eyes. Evan Brooks stared at Huy. His mouth opened, but the voice that came out was Min Tran's. Huy, drive. Behind them, white headlights flared. The truck had returned. Huy stopped thinking. He hit the gas. The SUV drove straight toward a wall of trees. But the moment the wheels touched the darkness between the trunks, the ground became asphalt. They were back on Clinton Road. The truck behind them roared. This time it did not only follow. It rammed them. The SUV lurched forward. Chris slammed his shoulder against the door, and the camera fell to the floor. Anna shouted, do not let it force you back to the bridge. You said it was keeping us away from the bridge. I am not sure anymore. Huy looked in the rearview mirror. Through the glare, he saw something sitting on top of the truck. Evan. But the body was no longer human. The arms and legs were too long, soaked black, clinging to the cab like a spider. The head was still a child's head, but the neck bent at the wrong angle, and the mouth smiled far too wide. Huy's spine went cold. Inside the truck's cab, the driver still sat with his head bowed. A man in a tow truck jacket. His father. The truck was not chasing them. It was trying to shake that thing off. Huy understood. My father is driving. Chris shouted. You are insane. No, he is not trying to hit us. Anna looked out the back, then at Huy, then the thing on the truck. It is not Evan. The road curved ahead. Dead man's curve. The bridge appeared again. But this time it no longer looked small. In the headlights, the bridge seemed to stretch impossibly long. The stone rails were soaked. The water below had risen almost to the edge. And there were coins on the bridge. Dozens. No. Hundreds. They lay scattered across the stone, glittering in the light. Every coin was a challenge someone had thrown into the dark. Every coin was a person who had wanted to prove they were not afraid. Anna said, her voice tight, we have to return your father's coin. But do not take it back again. And if it throws it up, do not look. Do not touch it. Do not call anyone's name. Huy stopped the SUV in the middle of the bridge. As soon as the engine died, every other sound died with it. No truck, no wind, no water, only Huy's heartbeat in his chest. He stepped out. Anna followed, carrying his father's notebook. Chris stayed in the car. "I am sorry," Chris said, his voice breaking. "I cannot." Huy did not blame him. He held the coin. This time it was not cold. It was hot. Hot as if someone had held it in a living hand for a long time. From below the bridge came the child's voice. "Uncle Min promised to take me home." Huy stood at the edge. "If you are not Evan, then what are you?" The water below stirred. One child's face appeared. Then another. Then a third. Then a fourth. All of them looked like Evan. All of them smiled. "I am what was left behind." The voice came from every direction. "I am the call beneath the water. I am the hand that pulls adults down when they lean too close. I am the thing that returns what people think they have lost." Anna opened the notebook to the last page. There was a line Huy had not noticed before. "To escape the road, do not return the coin to the water. Return it to the one who kept it first." Huy froze. The one who kept it first. He turned toward the truck. It was parked at the end of the bridge, its headlights off. The driver opened the door and stepped down. A man in an old tow truck jacket, slightly hunched, gray hair wet against his forehead. His face was blurred by darkness, but Huy recognized him anyway. He did not need to see clearly. Some people only have to stand there for your heart to know who they are. "Dad?" The man did not answer. He only held out his hand. Huy stepped toward him. Anna grabbed his arm. "Be careful. Can imitate voices. Can imitate faces." Huy looked at the figure. "No, this is my father." "How do you know?" Huy swallowed back tears. "Because he did not call my name." Anna did not understand. Huy whispered, "My father once told me that if I ever got lost, I should not trust a voice calling my name in the dark. Someone who wants to lead me home will stand still and wait for me to recognize him." The figure by the truck remained still. His hand was still extended. Huy placed the scratched quarter into his father's palm. At that moment, all of Clinton Road trembled. Not the ground. The darkness. The water under the bridge began to boil. Children's voices screamed together, but the screams quickly twisted, aged, and deepened until they no longer sounded like children at all. They became hundreds of voices whispering from the bottom of the water. "No, that is ours. The living threw it down. The living must take it back." Huy's father closed his fingers around the coin. For the first time, he lifted his face. Huy saw him clearly, older, exhausted, but the eyes were the same. The same eyes that had watched him over the breakfast table, under the hood of old cars, and through all those afternoons when Min had taught him how to change a tire. Min spoke very softly. "Go home, son." Huy stepped closer. "Come with me." His father shook his head. "I took the coin back once." Huy understood. In 1998, his father had thrown or dropped the coin into the water. The thing under the bridge had returned it. Min picked it up, and Clinton Road kept him. "No," Huy said. "I found you. You found the road home," his father answered. "Not me." Behind them, Anna screamed. Wet hands reached up through the stones of the bridge. Not children's hands. Adult hands, long and gray, with black mud under the nails. They gripped the railing and dragged warped bodies onto the bridge. Chris burst from the SUV. "Huy, go. One hand seized Anna's ankle. She fell. Huy lunged and grabbed her, but the pull from below was too strong. Anna was being dragged toward the edge. She screamed, "Evan!" The moment she said the name, everything stopped. From the water, the real boy appeared, not the twisted, smiling thing. A small child, shaking, his eyes full of fear. He stood on the water as if it were glass, looking at Anna. "Annie?" he whispered. Anna broke into tears. "Evan." The boy looked at her, then at Huy, then at Huy Tran. "Uncle Min said you would come." Anna shook her head, tears falling. "I am sorry. I did not find you." Evan gave her a sad little smile. "You looked. The road just would not let you see." The hands beneath the bridge started moving again. The thing in the water growled with the voices of hundreds of children. Evan turned toward the darkness below. "I do not want to return coins anymore." He bent and picked up a quarter from the bridge. Then another. Then another. The coins began to tremble, roll, and gather around him. As if every dare, every joke, every coin thrown down by someone who wanted to challenge the dark had finally come to be collected. Min stepped onto the bridge and stood beside Evan. He placed the scratched quarter with the H in the center of the pile. Then he looked at Huy one last time. "Run." This time, Huy did not argue. He pulled Anna to her feet and pushed her toward the SUV. Chris was already in the passenger seat, crying without sound. As Huy slammed the door, his father's truck reversed on its own and blocked the bridge. The headlights switched on. Not toward them, straight down into the water. For the first time, Huy saw what was truly beneath the bridge. It was not a child. It was not a ghost. It was a vast black opening under the water, spread wide like a mouth. Inside it glittered thousands of round things. Coins. Eyes. Or both. Evan threw the handful of coins down. This time the water made a sound. Not a splash. The sound of metal falling into the bottom of a coffin. The truck's engine screamed. Min drove straight into the darkness under the bridge. White light, engine noise, water, and shrieking voices twisted together into one storm. Huy hit the gas. The SUV shot off the bridge. Behind them, Clinton Road disappeared into light. The living room light flickered. Walter sat on the floor. And at the end of the hall, a man stood with his back turned, wearing Noah's jacket. Martha opened the journal. "My husband called it the memory door. It doesn't take you somewhere else. It takes you to the place the world cut away." Allison looked through the door. Her face went white. "I see my house," Martha said. "Everyone sees what they still owe." Noah swallowed. "What do you see?" Martha did not answer. She only stared through the frame with red eyes. Maybe she saw her husband. Or maybe she saw herself when she was young. Noah stepped toward the door. Martha grabbed his hand. "Remember your mother's warning. If you meet someone who looks like you, do not let him touch your hand. And Evan, call his name, but only once. If he answers with the nickname only, you would know it is Evan. If he answers with his full name, run." Noah nodded. He held Evan's tape recorder. Then he stepped through the door. For one moment the world disappeared. Noah stood inside his own house. But everything was wrong. The living room was longer than it should have been. The walls were damp, the wallpaper swelling like diseased skin. Family photos hung crooked, but every face in every photo had been erased. The television was on, showing only a black screen. In that screen, a person stood behind Noah. He spun around. No one was there. From upstairs came knocking. Knock! 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 Noah climbed. Each stair made the sound of water. The wood beneath his feet turned to mud. The second floor was no longer his house. It was the hallway of the high school where he worked. Fluorescent lights flickered overhead. Lockers stretched into forever. From one classroom came the sound of a tape recorder running. Noah pushed the door open. Inside was the forest. Hockomock in 2003. Evan stood in the middle of a classroom full of reeds. Blue jacket. Tape recorder in his hand. His face was pale, but it was Evan. Noah could barely speak. Ev. The boy lifted his head. His eyes filled with tears. Noah. Noah almost ran to him. Then he remembered Martha's warning. He stopped a few steps away. Are you real? Evan gave a sad smile. I wish I wasn't. Noah began to cry. I'm sorry. I led you in there. I didn't listen to you. I know. I'm going to take you home. Evan shook his head. You still don't understand. The ground trembled slightly. Far away came the sound of enormous wings. Evan looked behind Noah. It is looking for you too. What is? Evan answered. The one who came back. From the end of the classroom, a shadow stepped forward. Noah saw himself. 17 years old. Wet jacket. Mud up to his knees. Dried blood on his forehead. The copy of Noah smiled. Not cruelly. Not angrily. An empty smile. You're late, it said. Noah stepped back. Evan whispered, Don't let it touch you. The copy looked at Evan. You make everything difficult. His voice was Noah's younger voice, but underneath was something else. Water running through a cave. Insects moving under bark. People whispering behind a wall. Noah asked, What are you? The copy tilted its head. The part that was allowed to leave. And me. The part that was left behind. Noah did not understand. Evan was crying. Noah. I wasn't the one who disappeared. The classroom darkened. The lockers became trees. The floor became black mud. The copy stepped closer. That night, Evan fell into the water. You jumped in and pulled him up. But the door had opened. It did not want him. Noah felt the memory explode inside his skull. He saw 2003 again. Evan slipped into a ditch. Noah jumped after him and pulled him up. Orange light appeared between the trees. His mother's voice called. Then another person stood on the bank. Another Noah. Dry. Smiling. It held out a hand to Evan. Evan shook his head in terror. But the real Noah was sinking in the mud, one hand clinging to a root. He screamed, Ev, run! Evan did not run. He grabbed Noah's hand, pulled until his palms bled. But the mud dragged Noah down. And the thing on the bank said in Noah's voice, Evan, come here. In that moment Noah understood. Evan had not disappeared because he was taken. Evan disappeared because he stayed with him. And the thing that had gone home that night was standing in front of him now. The copy held out its hand. It is time to trade places. Noah shook his head. No. If you don't, Evan stays. Daniel stays. Everyone stays. Evan shouted. Don't listen to it. The copy kept smiling. 3 go in. 1 comes out. The rule is simple. Noah thought of Allison, Martha, Daniel, his mother, 21 years of living a life that might not have fully belonged to him. He asked, If I stay, Evan gets out? The copy looked at him. Maybe. Daniel. Maybe. Why should I trust you? The smile vanished. Because you have trusted me for 21 years. Pause 2.0s. The word struck Noah like a knife. Behind him, Evan shook his head wildly. Don't do it. It doesn't keep promises. Noah looked at his brother. The child time had forgotten because he would not let go of him. Ev, Noah said softly. That night, I failed to protect you. Evan cried. I didn't need you to protect me. I needed you to remember. Noah froze. Remember. Not rescue. Not trade places. Remember. Pause 1.5s. He looked at the copy. He looked at the hand it held out. Then he turned on the tape recorder. Static hissed. He spoke into it. My name is Noah Mercer. On October 19, 2003, I entered Hockomock Swamp with my brother, Evan Mercer. I was afraid. I forgot. But now I remember. The copy of Noah stopped. The space around them trembled. Noah continued, louder now. Evan did not run away. Evan did not leave home. Evan stayed because of me. And the thing that returned that night has no right to wear my face anymore. The copy roared. The classroom cracked open. From the walls came countless voices. Names. The names of the missing. The names of the forgotten. Noah heard Allison from far away. Noah! He turned. The door had appeared behind him. Allison stood on the other side, holding a red flare. Martha stood beside her, ringing the bell again and again, blood running from her nose. And behind them, Daniel Park stood in the dark. The real Daniel, eyes wide with terror. Allison saw him and almost ran forward, but Martha held her back. Say their names, Martha shouted. Say their names out loud. Noah understood. He looked at Evan. Do you remember the others? Evan nodded. One by one, people stepped from the dark. The hunter, the milkman, the little girl, the ranger. Their blurred faces sharpened as Evan spoke their names. Noah repeated them. Allison said Daniel's name. Martha said her husband's name. With every name, the forest cracked again. The copy of Noah was pulled backward into the dark. It screamed with Noah's mother's voice. Are you going to leave me again? Noah closed his eyes. Tears ran down his face. She wouldn't say that. He opened his eyes. My mother would say, bring your brother home. Evan ran to him. For the first time in 21 years, Noah held his brother. Evan's body was cold as swamp water. But he was real. The door behind them began to close. Allison pulled Daniel through. Martha pulled an older man Noah guessed was her husband. Evan pushed Noah toward the door. Go! What about you? Evan smiled. The same tooth-missing smile from the old photograph. I already did. Noah did not have time to understand. Evan placed the tape recorder in his hand. This time, don't forget. Then he pushed Noah through the door. Noah woke on cold mud. Dawn was breaking. Fog thinned across Hockomock Swamp. Allison lay a few yards away, holding Daniel Park. Daniel looked older than in his photograph, thin and gray at the temples, but alive. Martha sat beside an old man who was crying silently. Her husband. Noah sprang up. Evan. No one answered. He ran around the mound. The door was gone. Only a few rotting wooden posts rose from the mud. In his hand was the tape recorder. Noah pressed play. Evan's voice came through. No static. Not far away. Clear, as if he were standing beside him. Noah. If you can hear this, then you remembered. Noah fell to his knees. I'm not angry at you. I never was. But there is something you need to know. The tape went quiet for a moment. Then Evan said, that night, it wasn't one person who came back. Noah lifted his head. A cold wind moved through the swamp. There were two. Pause 2.0s. The tape crackled softly. The one wearing your face went home. The other one followed Mom. Noah stopped breathing. The recorder continued. You thought Mom died because of cancer, but after that night, every year, she heard your voice calling from the basement. She knew something lived in the house. She tried to keep it there, so it would not go back to the swamp and look for you. Noah felt the ground tilt beneath him. When Mom died, It wasn't being held anymore. The tape reached its last seconds. Noah, if you are hearing me outside the swamp, don't go home yet. A sound came from behind them. Everyone turned. At the edge of the trees, a woman stood in the fog. She wore a gray nightgown. Silver hair hung over her shoulders. Her head was bowed. Noah recognized her before she lifted her face. Mom! Allison raised her gun, her hands shaking. Martha began to cry. The woman lifted her face. It was Clara Mercer, Noah's mother, but her mouth opened too wide. And the voice that came out was not hers. It was Noah's voice. You're home late. The recorder in Noah's hand turned itself back on. Evan's voice came through one last time, urgent, nearly screaming. Run! Behind the woman, the tree line began to move. Not from wind. The whole forest was stepping forward. Tree trunks rose from the ground like the legs of something enormous. Above them, the shadow of a great bird blocked the newborn sun. Allison dragged Daniel away. Martha and her husband stumbled after them. Noah stayed frozen for one more second. The thing wearing his mother's face stepped closer. Mud did not stick to her feet. She held out her hand, just as the copy of Noah once had held its hand out to Evan. Noah, it said, this time, you bring your mother home. Noah looked at the hand, then at the tape recorder. He stepped back. One step, two. Then he turned and ran. Behind him, his mother's laughter echoed through the swamp. It was not the laugh of the living. It was the sound of a rotten wooden door opening underwater. 3 days later, Daniel Park was taken to the hospital. Doctors said he was badly dehydrated, severely weakened, and covered with old wounds. They could not explain why a man missing for 3 years showed biological signs of having been lost for only a few weeks. Martha's husband was the same. He could not remember how long he had been gone. He only remembered many people standing in the dark, waiting for someone to say their names correctly. Allison wrote the report. She wrote only that a search group found 2 missing people in the swamp after receiving new information. She did not mention the door. She did not mention the copies. She did not mention the woman wearing Clara Mercer's face. Martha burned her husband's journal. She said some doors exist only because people keep drawing maps to them. Noah did not go home for a week. He stayed at Allison's house. Then one afternoon, he decided to return to South Elm Road and gather his things. Allison went with him. Noah's house was silent. The front door still hung slightly open from the night he ran. Inside, the air smelled damp. Walter was gone. Muddy footprints covered the living room floor. Many of them, adult size, child size, bare feet, all circling the house as if they had been searching for him night after night. Noah went upstairs. The storage room stood wide open. The brown shoebox lay in the middle of the floor. There were no photographs of Evan inside. Only an old newspaper clipping. Noah picked it up. It was a local article from 2003. The headline read, Teenager Noah Mercer Missing in Hockomock Swamp. Pause 2.0s. Noah stared at the words. Not Evan. Not 2 brothers missing. Only Noah. Below the headline was a photograph of him at 17. The first paragraph said, according to the statement of the victim's younger brother, Evan Mercer, Noah followed a strange light into the woods and did not return. Evan was found near the main road the next morning in a state of extreme panic. Noah stumbled backward. His hand shook so badly that the article fell to the floor. Allison picked it up. She read it. Her face went white. Noah! He shook his head. No, that can't be right. Evan disappeared. I lived 21 years. He ran to the basement. He did not know why. Only that something was pulling him down there. The basement was freezing. A single ceiling bulb swayed. On the concrete wall at the far end were carved marks. Hundreds of them, like someone had been counting days. In the middle of the wall, one sentence had been scratched so deep that the concrete had cracked around it. Evan, do not trust the one wearing your brother's face. Noah touched the words. At that instant, the final memory returned. Not Noah's memory. The memory of the thing that had lived as Noah. It remembered a door opening in the swamp. It remembered a boy named Evan pulling his brother from the mud. It remembered the real Noah being dragged into the dark. It remembered stepping out of the door, learning how to breathe, learning how to cry, learning how to call the woman in front of it Mom. It remembered Clara Mercer looking at it and understanding at once. It remembered her locking it in the basement for 3 days. It remembered crying with Noah's voice. It remembered her finally opening the door. Because she could not lose both of her sons. Pause 2.0s. Noah collapsed to his knees. Allison ran down and held him. You are Noah, she said. Whatever happened, you are Noah. But under the swinging light, Noah looked at his hands. And for the first time, he was not sure. From upstairs came the sound of the front door opening. Knock, knock, knock. 3 taps on the floor. Allison drew her gun. Noah, get behind me. A child's voice called down from the living room. Evan's voice. But not from the recorder. Noah. Noah stopped breathing. The voice continued. I'm home. Allison shook her head. Don't answer. Noah looked up the dark staircase. Tears ran down his face. Because in that moment, he understood the true price of the Bridgewater Triangle. It does not only take people. It takes away your certainty that the person who returns is still the one you love. Upstairs, Evan called again. This time, softer. It's Ev. Noah closed his eyes. That was the nickname. Only he knew it. Only the real Noah knew it. But who was he? The older brother who disappeared? Or the thing that had learned how to love like a human being? Small footsteps moved slowly toward the basement stairs. Allison raised her gun. Noah put his hand on the barrel and lowered it. Don't. Noah. He stepped onto the first stair. From the darkness above, a small hand reached down. Muddy, trembling. Evan's voice whispered, You promised. Noah stared at the hand for a long time. Then he reached up. Right before their fingers touched, the basement light went out. In the dark, Allison heard Noah say, I remember now. Pause 2.0s. When Huy opened his eyes, the sun had risen. The SUV was parked on the side of a small road near a neighborhood. Birds were singing somewhere overhead. Morning light pushed through the trees. The phone signal had returned. The dashboard clock read 7:12 a.m. Chris sat in the passenger seat, pale, holding the camera like a child clutching a pillow. Anna sat in the back, both hands wrapped around Huy Tran's notebook. No one spoke for almost 10 minutes. At last, Chris turned on the camera. The screen was cracked, but it still worked. He rewound the footage. The bridge was there. The coin fell. The truck appeared. They ran. Everything was there. But at the final part, when Min and Evan stood on the bridge, the image became white static. Inside the static, a man's voice whispered, Do not turn grief into evidence. Chris shut the camera off. Anna cried silently. Huy did not cry. He only looked at the road ahead. An ordinary road. Houses. A mail truck. A man walking a dog. The world had continued as if nothing had happened. They drove Anna back to the library. Before she got out, she tried to return the notebook to Huy. You should keep it. Huy shook his head. No, it belongs here, but not to the bridge anymore. Anna understood. She held the notebook to her chest. Do you think they are free? Huy looked at his hands. The fingers that had touched the coin had returned to normal. No cold. No watermark. I do not know, he said. Anna nodded. Maybe that was the truest answer. 3 weeks later, Huy posted the final episode of Night Routes. There were no clear ghost shots. No usable image of the truck. No proof. Only Huy's slow narration about a road in West Milford. The legends people still tell. The bridge where coins are said to come back. And the fact that some things are better left unproven. The episode did moderately well. It did not go viral. It did not cause a storm. Some viewers said they were disappointed that there was no real evidence. One person commented, "If you went to Clinton Road and did not throw a coin, what was the point?" Huy stared at that comment for a long time. Then he deleted it. He stopped making ghost hunting videos after that episode. Chris did not argue. Some people only need to pass through one night like that to have enough darkness for the rest of their lives. Huy's mother watched the episode one Sunday afternoon. She did not ask many questions. She only sat beside him in silence. When the episode ended, she placed her hand over his and asked, "Did your father find the way home?" Huy looked at the small shrine in his apartment. There was an old photograph of his father there, the same one his mother had kept for years. "I think he stopped being lost," Huy said. His mother cried. For the first time in more than 20 years, she cried not because of loss, but because she was allowed to believe that the man she loved had not simply left her. 1 year passed. Huy did not return to Clinton Road. He did not tell anyone else the whole story. But every October he still received emails from strangers. Some asked where the bridge was. Some bragged that they had thrown coins and seen nothing. Some sent videos of headlights behind their cars. Huy never replied. Then, on a late October night, he received an audio file with no title. The sender had used a throwaway email address. The message contained only one sentence. "You said not to take the coin back. But what if it finds you on its own?" Huy opened the file. At first, there was only wind. Then the sound of tires on wet pavement. Then a young man laughing. "This is Clinton Road, everybody. We just reached the famous bridge. I have a quarter right here. If the ghost kid is real, throw it back to me." A metallic sound fell away. Silence. Then a clink. The young man cursed, then laughed loudly. "No way. It just landed behind me." Another voice, probably his friend, said, "Pick it up." Huy stopped breathing. From the speakers, the young man said, "I got it." Immediately after that came the truck horn. Low, warped, like metal dragged underwater. Then screaming, tires shrieking, someone crying, "It is behind us! It is behind us!" The chaos lasted nearly a minute. Then everything cut off. Huy thought the file was over. But then a voice came through. A middle-aged man's voice. Tired. Very far away. "Do not stop at the bridge." Huy stood up. It was his father's voice. No, not exactly. It sounded like his father, but rougher, distorted, as if it were coming through a radio that had been underwater too long. Then came a child's voice, very small. "Uncle Huy." The blood in Huy's body went cold. He had never said his full name in the episode. He had never publicly revealed enough for that voice to know him. The child whispered. Someone threw another one down. A pause. Then the sound of metal rolling across wood. Clink. Huy slowly turned his head. On the kitchen table behind him, a quarter lay inside a perfect ring of water. He was certain it had not been there before. His apartment was on the second floor. The door was locked. The windows were closed. No one had entered. The coin was still slowly spinning. Huy walked toward it. He did not touch it. He leaned down and looked. The coin did not have his scratched letter H. It had a different mark. Very small. Very fresh. 2 letters. CM. Chris Miller. Huy's phone rang. Chris's name was on the screen. Huy answered at once. There was no voice on the other end. Only rain. An engine. And Chris breathing hard. Chris. Where are you? A silence. Then Chris spoke, his voice trembling until it was almost unrecognizable. I did not mean to go. I swear. Someone sent me coordinates. They said they found the rest of the tape. Huy closed his eyes. You are on Clinton Road. Chris began to cry. I threw the coin. From the other end came the truck horn. Huy grabbed his car keys. Do not pick it up. Chris did not answer. Chris, do not pick it up. The breathing on the phone came closer. Then Chris whispered, too late. The call ended. Huy ran down the stairs and out to his SUV. But when he opened the door, he froze. The driver's seat was soaked. On the inside of the windshield, written in fog, was a line of slanted, trembling handwriting. It looked exactly like the note he had received 1 year earlier. This time, do not come too late. Huy looked at the dark street ahead. At the end of the block, where there should have been only traffic lights and city noise, he saw 2 white points of light. Headlights. A truck stood still in the rain. No license plate. No engine sound. Just waiting. Huy got into the SUV. He placed both hands on the steering wheel. And for the first time in his life, he did not say he did not believe in ghosts anymore. Because some roads do not need you to believe. They only need you to come back. If you ever find yourself on Clinton Road after midnight, remember this story. Do not stop at the bridge. Do not look too long into the water. And if something cold and wet lands behind you, do not pick it up. If this story kept you listening until the end, subscribe to Infinite Story Realm for more dark legends, haunted roads, and mysteries that refuse to stay buried. Leave a comment below and tell me this. If the coin came back with your initials carved into it, would you throw it away, or would you go looking for the person it belonged to? Until the next story, keep your headlights on and never trust an empty road after midnight.